Thanks for letting us come and visit today.
You're welcome.
How did you get started making knives?
I was an Explorer Scout leader that doesn't play basketball. The exploring program in the Scouts is supposed to be exactly that. You're supposed to find something that interests you and then go explore it. So our little troop decided that we would explore knife making. And we went to the junkyard and got some car springs and started making knives out of them. And I finished my knife, and then I showed it to one of the people at work, and he wanted it so much that he bought it.
I'll be done. And when was this?
This was in February of '73. And I probably took 30 hours and I got $10 for it.
Why did you decide on the style of knives you work on? I mean, you've got kitchen knives, you've got all sorts of different knives, but yours are unique. The
knives that I make are made so that people can use them. They're utility knives first and foremost. Some of them are combat knives, specific use knives. We have some hunting knives. I just try to make practical knives. Some of them are purpose-built, like this. There's only one purpose for this. It's a combat knife. It's actually a evolution of this one. And this also is a combat knife, but it took me a long time to get to a point where I would actually make the full-blown dagger. And that's what this is.
What prompted you to make a dagger? I mean, you were starting off with little knives out of car spring parts. They
were pretty big knives out of car springs. The first knife I made was probably an 8-inch blade, But I've just, over the years, made so many different models that you wouldn't even believe. I used to just draw things up out of the air, and somebody would see it and like it. That's one of the things that I've found, is that if you make a knife, it doesn't matter how weird it is, somebody will like it and they will buy it. So,
talk to us a little bit about the metal you use. It's somewhat unique in the industry, isn't it?
Well, it has lost favor, mainly because when they were first using it, 440C used to be the premium steel.
When do you think that
back
would be
in the day, back in the 70s? Because it was tough and it was good. It's very corrosion resistant. There's no such thing as stainless steel, by the way, but it is very corrosion resistant. 17% chromium. But back then they didn't actually know how to heat treat it properly. So if you ground a fairly thin edge, it would chip. But if you sub-zero stabilize, it will not chip.
And that's something that's unique to what you do, right?
I absolutely, every time, have them sub-zero stabilized. And that is a continuation of the quench process. When the steel comes back down from being hot, where it actually changes, and when it comes back, it changes back to what it was, but the crystalline structure is finer. And when you sub-zero it, it makes it even finer than that.
Which in turn hardens the metal?
Well, it does harden it, but mainly the structure is finer so that it doesn't have big, it's not big chunks anymore, it's little tiny chunks. And since they're little tiny, they don't chip out. It's hard. It's kind of like coal. If you've seen coal, when you crack it, it just cracks in big chunks.
Like fissures and stuff.
440C will do that if you work it too hard with a fine edge, if you don't sub-zero it. If you do, then it's much better.
So all the knives that you make are of 440C stainless steel that's been sub-zero stabilized,
right?
And they'll hold up to pretty much
double
anything.
Drawn, the whole Magilla. Pretty much they will hold up to some pretty tough work.
Pretty much anything most people were going to do with these knives.
Yes.
Not a lot of height in your knives. They're just mean, tough, meaty knives with muscle.
They're just rough, tough knives. Yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
Why do you go so thick on your blades? That's something that's unique, and I guess we should tell people your blades typically are 3/16 of an inch thick.
Yeah, 3/16 or a quarter. The thinnest knife I make is a Scandi, and it's an 1/8 inch thick, but it's the only one.
And why do you go so thick on your knives?
I've always believed in overbuild. If it's bigger and stronger, it probably won't break. And I've seen people use knives for things that they're not supposed to be used for. They use them to pry with, and a small thin blade will break. My knives usually won't. I'm not saying they can't be broken. You can break anything, but they probably won't.
One of the unique things, at least that I've known about knives, and I don't know a whole lot, is that your warranty with your knives is amazing.
Well, I believe in my knives.
Basically,
it's that simple.
And that warranty is?
It's to repair or replace any knife that fails for any reason.
Period. Over the life of the original owner.
Yeah, even stupidity. and actually, I've only replaced 4.
So over 7,000 knives since 1973. You've only had to.
Actually, the 7,000 knives is just Entreks. And that's only from probably 96 or so.
How many knives do you suspect you may have made over this time?
Oh, probably 8,000 or 9,000. Before that, I was doing custom knives and only doing 50, 60 a year. But now I make 500 to 800 a year. So,
tell us the story about Entrek Knives and how that came about.
Actually, it was because I was working with another person producing knives, and that person decided it was time to quit and just pulled the plug on the whole thing. And I really liked the knives, so I redesigned them and continued on. I redesigned, I can't remember, I think it was 6 or 7 models, and started off with those and grew. Now I have, I think 38. 38
different knives that are in the Entrek line?
Well, some of them actually are, like this one is 2 different models. We have one like this, and then the black version is the Mark II. So we do have some that are doubles like that.
Tell me about the line of knives that you have. It looks like you've got a wide assortment sitting there.
Yeah.
It looks...
Well,
what distinguishes them?
We have everything from a neck knife that's about 6 1/4 inches long to a big double-edged Tonto buoy, I guess you'd call it. That's 14 1/2 inches long. They cover a wide range because one thing that I've learned is that everybody has their own idea of what a knife is. Some people like that little 3-inch blade neck knife, it hangs around your neck, and some of them just like the big monster looking things, and we have hunting knives and combat knives, and we try to cover most of the bases. You'll also find that most of my knives are pretty sensible. They're not all wiggly, and they don't have holes in them, and so they're usable knives, and that's what we do. Just good using knives. If you're using one, you'll probably be happy with it because they work. That's what they're designed to do, is just work. They're almost, I would say, almost always better than they need to be. As far as a working knife goes.
Thanks for letting us come and visit with you, and we'll see you in the future.
My pleasure.